Probably share the screen. So I'm gonna because we're so far behind everybody else through no fault of you guys whatsoever. But because of that, I'm gonna go through a couple of pages of the packet with you guys. So I mean, it's essentially free answers, which is awesome for you guys. But also, just we're gonna hit a couple of things you guys really need to um, be up to date with. So let's see. Let me share the screen with you guys. All right. That's right. Okay, so if you go into your February folder, week one should have the amendments project, which I've talked to you guys about, and then this Washington's farewell address and the vocab. The vocab, for whatever reason, it didn't upload right the first time, so I put the PDF here, and there is the turn-in for it. So I'll merge those together when I think about it again. But what we're going to go through today, we're going to do the Federalist versus the Anti-Federalist papers, and we're going to look at Washington's farewell address. Both of these are going to be pretty quick, so we shouldn't be here for too very long. And then I'll let you guys go to work on the vocab if you want, or get ahead in the packets, as far ahead in it as you can get. Okay, we're going to start with Washington's farewell address. And I am not going to make you guys read through all of this. We're just going to hit the high points. I hope that's okay. But we can break down Washington's farewell address into generally three different headlines. Oh, wait, let her in. It's not letting me let you in. You can break it down into three parts. The first one is unity, and it's this idea of having a nation that is unified with each other. And he starts off with that because his basic point is, you know, as a nation, we have to find some way to agree on various topics, because if we don't have that unity, if we don't have that kind of that patriotism that holds us together, then the country is not going to last. It's going to fall apart. His second thing is political parties, which directly ties into the unity thing. And then his third part is the idea of alliances. Now, the address that he goes through is a lot, his address is a lot more detailed. And if you do, I'm going to pull up something else really fast just to show you guys. If you come over here to your main page, this where it says extra credit, this is another version of Washington's farewell address, one that we did in class with my other classes. If you pull this up, and this is extra credit, you can do it if you are in trouble for the semester, which hopefully you guys won't end up in trouble. And it just goes through, where are the excerpts at? Hold on, let it load. Sorry. There are 10 really big points that he makes within the speech, and this extra credit, all you have to do for it is you're matching the excerpt with the image and then telling me what you think it means. But all of these different points that he makes jump into, nope, not that one, this one, those three different topics: unity, political parties, and alliances with other countries. So if we look at the reading here, it says, what is patriotism? And how is it different from local discrimination? So let's start off with what is patriotism. Does anybody want to give a definition of what patriotism means? You guys can unmute yourself, that's fine. I'll unmute you, either way.
I'm still trying to find the page.
Oh no. Okay, go to, no, not that one. This one, go to Schoology, So you guys should be 018 and then go to February, drop down that folder, and then week 1, and it'll be this one right here where it says Washington's farewell address.
Oh, okay.
Everybody else have it? Give me like a thumbs up or an actual answer.
I'm going there.
You're going there? Okay. Hojin, you got it?
Yes.
And Tanisha, I don't know if I've met you. Are you HVA, Tanisha?
Oh yeah,
Did I say your name right?
Tanisha. Yeah.
Tanisha, all right. That's 0.1 for me. All right. So it's only you 4 today. So congratulations, you guys are awesome. Are you guys? So if you're all in, hold up. All right. Everybody has the document up, right? I'm going to assume the silence means yes. All right. What is patriotism? It's up here in line 2. It's what he describes as the pride of patriotism of the whole nation more than any feelings or concerns derived from local discriminations or concerns. So patriotism is that basic, the basic idea of being proud of the country that you come from. You don't have to have been born in the country to have patriotism. There are people who come from different countries to the United States who live here and spend quite a bit of time here, and they have patriotism to be from the United States. There are people from the U.S. that go to like the UK or to Germany or to Switzerland, and they become very patriotic of those areas as well. But patriotism as a whole, that's what the definition is. It is just pride for the country that you live in. So that's the answer to number 1. Local discriminations. If something is local, it means that it is it's in your area. So a local discrimination, at this time, people were exceedingly proud to be from a certain colonial point of view. So if you lived in the colony of Virginia, you were very proud to be a Virginian, and you're a Virginian before you were an American. So to be from, so the idea is that he's saying is we have to have, you can have pride from the area that you're from, that's fine, but your pride for the nation itself needs to be over that. So it's like, if we all are, excited and proud to be in Miss Bishop's A2 history class, we can have a sense of pride in that, but overall we need to be proud to be at Grissom High School. Does that make sense? What he's trying to get out there?
Yeah.
Thank you, AJ. So local discriminations, how is it different from local discriminations? In short, I'll leave that more, you guys can see it. The phrase must always exalt the pride of patriotism of the whole nation more than any feelings or concerns derived from local discriminations mean. We've already talked about that. So really and truly, I mean, if you've got the answer for up here, then why is it not giving me my mouse? There you are. If you've got the answer for up here, then you're good for this one down here. What might Washington have been noticing in the late 1800s that led him to include this in his farewell address? And that goes back to the idea of sectionalism, which is the pride of the area that you're from as opposed to the country that you inhabit. I guess sectionalism is what's going to lead to the Civil War. It's the idea of state pride and what powers are given to the state as opposed to what powers are given to the federal government. So if you want to put sectionalism there, that's the short one-word answer, and I will take that. All right. AJ, since you're the only person who's been talking so far, I'm going to pick on you a little bit. What do you think? I'll read this part, and then you tell me, what do you think Washington's main idea is? So the North, in a dependent relationship with the South, finds great economic gains from the manufacturing and production of resources that come from the South. The South benefits from the work of the North, sees its agricultural growth and its commerce expand. The tools of the farmers in the South are made in the North. The East finds improvement of communication by land and water. The West is only able to expand from the East due to these improvements the East makes. While then every part of our country thus feels an immediate and particular interest in union, all parts combined cannot fail to find in the united mass of means and efforts greater strength. So AJ, what do you think he's saying right there?
That everyone needs each other.
All right, why do they need each other?
Because the South needs the tools from the North, and then so on for the other places.
Very good. All right. Lucy, what is the benefit of being united even though we have separate areas that operate differently?
Benefit, you can like sell what you profit in your state, I guess.
That is a good one. Let's see, every state can trade with one another. Are we, as a country, if you have states divided up, are you stronger as a nation in which all of those states come together, or would the nation be stronger if the states kind of operated on their own? What do you think?
As a nation.
As a nation. So states can profit from trade with one another, like you said, Lucy. The other portion of that is that as a nation, you have to have unity to provide a strong front. Oh, I'm sorry. All right. So that is those are the answers for the first three. The whole thing about that is the idea of unity is, and I think, in today's political climate, you can really see why Washington would be trying to stress this, because if we have a country that can't come together, if we have a country that can't find a way to work with one another, then, we're obviously going to have problems. That's really what happened to a lot of the great empires of the world, the Greek Empire, the Roman Empire, to a lesser degree, the Egyptian Empire, and the British Empire, really. He had seen all of this happen throughout history. Washington was a very intelligent individual. He said, if we want to survive and be strong as a nation, we have to find a way to get along with one another. All right, political parties. He says, let me now warn you in the most serious manner against the terrible effects of the spirits of political parties in general, sharpened by the spirit of revenge, a frightful abuse of power. This leads to a more formal and permanent cruel use of power. Sooner or later, the leaders of those parties become the loudest voice and turns the disposition into the purpose of his own elevation and ruins the public liberty. All right, so Ho-Jin, does Washington agree or disagree with political parties? I just got a ding of some sort. I don't know what it means. Oh, I got mail. That's what it was. Ho-Jin, you still there, man?
Yes, I'm
All right.
trying to figure out, but
All right, you're good, man. Well, what do you think? Do you think that he is supportive of political parties or no?
Mm, I think yes.
Yes? Okay, what would make you think yes? Like what words within this up here?
Mm,
Let me ask you it this way. Ooh, God. Sorry, my headphones just shocked the crap out of me. When you hear things like spirit of revenge or frightful abuse, formal and permanent cruel use of power, are those positive or negative?
negative things.
Yes, they're very negative, right? So if we're talking about this, and we're talking about political parties, is Washington for them or against them? Does he view them positively or negatively? There we go.
It's negative.
Yes, very good. So he strongly disagrees with the existence of political parties. All right, and we've already kind of pulled some of these, so I'm just going to highlight for B down here. I'm just going to highlight this. Public liberty. Okay. How do Washington's thoughts about political parties reinforce or support his claims about patriotism in part one? And I'll answer this one for you guys. In just for brevity and all of that. Washington could see the dangers of forming political parties. I mean, we have political parties today. Are they? Is that working out for us all that well? You know, the essence of what a political party is a group of people who think similarly. So if you have two or three or more groups of people who think similarly, and there's no way to come together on some of the topics that they think about, then the political parties are going to run divides. So what he's saying, or how it ties back into the idea of unity, is that let's see, Washington believed that the division inherent in political parties would lead to. All right, I'll give you guys a second if you're still typing. Get a drink. Okay, part three, alliances. Washington did not believe in forming alliances with other nations. So it's for A, it's no, he did not believe in forming alliances. All right, what are some possible issues you could see with having an alliance with another country?
They can go against you.
They can go against you. All right, think about like World War I and World War II. How did we get pulled into it?
Alliances.
So alliances, one of the big claims that he makes is that let's see. Europe has a set of primary interests which to us have none or very remote relation. She is engaged in frequent controversies, the causes of which are not our concerns. So if we get involved in an alliance with these other countries and those other countries start wars with one another, then we are, by virtue, forced to go to war that we don't really have we don't really have a horse in the race for. So what he's saying is, yeah, trade with other countries. That's great. That's fine. But don't get too far into alliances with them. And what we'll do, I'm just going to highlight this. And then highlight that. And that is the answer for B. Which, I mean, because his primary evidence is Europe and what that country is involved in. All right, let's see. So, okay. Compare and contrast Washington's advice in the 3 sections. How are his claims similar and how are they different? And then if you had to capture the main idea of the farewell address as a whole, what would that main idea be in 1 or 2 sentences? I don't think I gave you guys this page on the farewell address. No, I did not. Right, okay, so I want you guys to answer these 2 questions on your own and then ignore this part because it is not you. You have a different setup for that one. All right, so this one and this one are the only 2 you are responsible for. All right, does that make sense? You guys clear on farewell address and all of that? I know we kind of skimmed through that really, really quickly, but any questions about it?
No.
No? Tanisha, Hojin, Lucy, y'all good? Okay, I'm taking that as a solid yes. All right. All right, let me save that. Leave that. Okay, the second thing I wanted to go through, and this one will take a little bit more time on, is the Federalist versus the Anti-Federalist Papers. Okay, so the historic context, I keep pointing at it and you guys can't necessarily see what I'm pointing at, I'm sorry. The historic context behind this is that is what we talked about in class on Thursday sounds right. We'll go with Thursday. It's this idea of the divide between the nation, the divide between how government should operate. People like John Jay, Alexander Hamilton, and future President James Madison, these people believed in a strong federal government that provided for the people and that was ruled over by better men. The Anti-Federalists were, we don't know exactly who wrote them. They're kind of organized from different papers, different letters and things like that, and kind of put together in that way. The Anti-Federalists believed that the state governments knew what was going on better in their states than people in Washington would. And they said, we have to provide our people with very specific protections and very specific limitations so that the government doesn't infringe upon the people. So the Federalists are, and I'm going to let you, so here's the thing. You do have to read through these to be able to answer the questions here. And I do want you guys to read through the Federalist and the Anti-Federalist papers because they are very short little excerpts from it. And the questions themselves are directly related back to the reading. But if you scroll all the way down here to the bottom, this is kind of like the review portion of it to make sure you got it all. We're going to do this portion together. And that should give you all of the info that you possibly could need up top. All right. So it gives you a phrase bank, but I'm not really going to use the phrase bank, so don't worry too much about that. All right, so the Federalists favored a very strong central government. Box. So you guys can see. All right. Let's move this down. Oh no, it's not going to let me layer them. Do it this way. All right. The Federalists favored a strong central government and a weak state government. All right, and the strong and the weak are the underlined words for that one. And obviously, I can't spell today. All right. So these are people like John Jay, Alexander Hamilton, and James Madison. The Federalists are going to favor the Constitution itself, but without the Bill of Rights. As the government for the U.S. Oh. You know what, we can delete these and I'll just do them two on top. Okay. The Federalists felt that the Bill of Rights was unnecessary. Oh gosh, can't spell at all. There we go. All right, and then they're going to believe that people who are property owners, landed rich, merchants in the northern states, they're going to live in very urban areas. They are the North, essentially. This is where federalism is going to be extremely popular. And they're going to believe that the elite and only the elite should be governing the nation. So only people in the upper classes should be allowed to run for office or hold any office in our government. Why do you guys think they would want that? Like, why would they only want people in upper classes to have control of the government?
Because they wanted a strong central government.
Because they did want a strong central government. Okay. In the late 17, early 1800s, if you had money, did you have an education? Yes, correct. If you had money, you had an education. They believed that the only people who should be able to run for office are people who are educated, especially people who are educated in politics. They did not believe that Farmer Brown from down the street should have a place in government. They believe their voices should be heard, but that you could trust the elite to take care of those people. All right, so it's a very elitist point of view, and a very they had a lot of hope for people. They believed a lot of that people were inherently better than what they typically are. All right, so Anti-Federalists favored what? You guys think, a strong or a weak central government?
Weak.
Very good. Underline the wrong thing up there. All right. They favored the Articles of Confederation as a form of government because the Articles of Confederation gave all power to the states. It would have operated like what we saw in ancient Greece. They felt that the Bill of Rights was extremely necessary to protect the rights of the people. And then they believed that all individuals should be allowed to govern. Right, so the big difference between a federalist and an anti-federalist is going to be this idea of where should the power be held? Is it held in the states? Is it the individual? Or is it the collective? This divide that we see between anti-federalists and federalists is going to continue even into today. This is going to be the big cause or the big argument that this is going to eventually cause the Civil War. This right here is where all of that starts, because you have this huge division of how should the government be run. Now, when we get to the Civil War, there are a lot of different catalysts that kind of come together, and it's like the perfect storm that leads to an actual all-out war between the nations. But the big push for it is this divide between the federal government and the state governments, and how should they mix together. All right, all of that makes sense. Or do you guys have any questions, comments, or concerns about any of that? Yes, no, maybe so. Any questions about any of the assignments that you guys are doing this week?
No.
No? All right, well, if you guys don't have any questions, if you're good, I'm going to end class on those two things today, because I'm not going to make you sit at a computer for an hour and a half.